You talked about it's a loss of control. You know you have a problem.
Absolutely.
And there's 6 different types. And I like that so much. I actually wrote a book on addiction called Unchain Your Brain, Breaking the Addictions That Steal Your Life. And to put everybody in the same program, sort of silly, because there are different types of addicts. There are impulsive addicts, or compulsive addicts, or sad addicts, or anxious addicts, or addicts who've had a head injury and they can't control their behavior. So talk to us about the 6 types.
Sure. The way that we've paradigmed that, and we were the first one to kind of categorize sex addicts in different categories. The first is the biological. That's what we talked about, creating the sexual template, ring the bell, feed the dog, ring the bell, feed the dog. Right?
They're conditioned.
Okay. The second is psychological. There's neglect in the family. There's pain in the soul. And as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, you can't go to the bar and tie one on. So you find yourself and you begin to use fantasy to compensate for what you're needing in your life. But that neurological response from the orgasmic response, you attach to that. And you become addicted in that process, psychologically dependent. Okay. There is the sexual abuse person. And then with this situation, they actually duplicate either as perpetrator or as victim the behavior. Okay. And so like I had a young guy who would go and have encounters with much older, heavyweight males. Well, that was the person who abused him. And he kept perpetrating the same thing.
As the victim.
As the victim. And some people play the other role. They switch to the perpetrator, right? Then there's the spiritual person. I've only met a handful of these. They're looking for God in all the wrong places. And as soon as they have a spiritual encounter, they're done with it. Okay? So they don't usually show up in my office. And then there is the intimacy anorexic sex addict. Now, this person's unique. So intimacy anorexic is the active withholding of spiritual, emotional, and sexual intimacy from your spouse. They're too busy for you. They blame you for the problems. They withhold love, withhold praise, withhold sex. They are aren't able to talk about their feelings, use anger and silence as a way to control. They have criticism of you, that kind of stuff. And you feel married and alone, but they're still having fun with themselves or others. Okay. And then the last one is more on your camp where there is a chemical imbalance, the mood disorder / sex addict. They're treating their bipolar. They're treating their manic depression. They're treating depression. They're treating head injuries, another thing. But they're using the neurological balancing that the ejaculation response gives or the orgasm response gives to help them modulate their brain, to put themselves to sleep or to just get through the day sometimes. And so there's different paths that people get there.